Welcome. Martin Ware here. Awesome. Welcome to this hangout, this workshop, Podcast Master Blueprint. I'm super fired up. If you can hear me, go ahead and let me know that you can hear me. I'm actually just going to check and see if we are actually starting. If you can hear me, okay, if you're actually on the page or if you're watching this replay, let me know that you guys can actually hear me. And there's also a that you guys can actually chat with me. Okay, so I'm using this new technology that I was fortunate enough to come across, and if you can actually hear me, it makes things a lot easier. Okay, I was using the Google Hangout platform. Makes things the new software that I'm using is just makes things a lot easier. So it looks like we are live. So boom, awesome. So we are live. Okay, so if you can hear me and you can hear my voice, go ahead and let me know where you're actually watching this live hangout at. Okay, or even if you're watching the replay. The cool thing about this technology, I'll actually get any questions that you actually have about this pod. Okay, anything that I share with you, if you have a question, go ahead and type it in. All right, I'll be able to actually see it on my end, and I'll make sure to answer any question that you might have that you're actually wanting to know a little bit more about. So let me get started. We're going to get started in the next 30 seconds or so, but type in where you're at from, okay, and make sure you guys are ready. I have a glass of water here with me, ready to go, and I'm just super pumped up to be able to bring this knowledge to you and share with you, what it is that I'm actually doing. So on your screen, you should be able to see there's actually a you should be able to see my PowerPoint slides. So if you can see, it looks like everything is good on my end. So I'm actually going to start now. Let me go ahead and make sure we have everything that we need. All right, boom. Awesome, guys. So if you're watching this, okay, and if you have any questions, again, the software that I'm using right now will actually alert me. And if you're watching the replay, go ahead and do it as well. I'll be able to reply back to you when I see your question. Okay, so and I'm just reserving all questions to be answered at the end of the podcast or at the end of this workshop, so I can actually share with you everything that I have without any distractions. But if you have any questions that come up along the way, make sure that you're asking them. Okay, folks. So let's actually get started now. And okay, so on your screen it says Podcast Mastery Blueprint. Okay, my name is Martin Ware, and I'm going to be sharing with you how to, you know, how to discover the simple process to creating, producing, and launching a strategic podcasting business. Okay, I'm actually the founder and host of the Unstoppable Journey podcast. Okay, my name is Mark Ware, as I mentioned, and I'm just super fired up to be sharing so you can actually have a blueprint to go and to really just create, produce, and launch your very own podcast yourself. And I'm not playing, folks. I'm literally going to expose the truth on the internet marketing's industry's best kept recruiting secret. I'm going to share with you how you can use this on this very workshop, how to create a lead and cash flowing machine that spits out money like an ATM machine, okay, on 100% autopilot. And for those of you that are here and and you stick to the end, okay, of tonight's training, I'm going to be sharing with you a special untapped resource to help build professional looking capture pages and funnels that help build your influence. And this is really my secret weapon to building my audience so they know, like, and trust me. So if you stick to the end of this workshop, okay, this is a free workshop, by the way. If you stay to the end, I'm going to give you a free bonus. Okay, I'm going to share with you how to actually, everything that I'm going to share with you today has a purpose. And at the end, once you know how to create your podcast, I'm going to share with you how to go and build an awesome list of followers that really know, like, and trust you and are going to follow you and are going to consume okay, and what it is that you're talking about. So if you're up for that, say aye. Go ahead and let me know in the chat, and we'll get started, and we're gonna crush this. Okay, so here's the game plan, folks. Okay, tonight we're gonna be discovering the rarely shared strategy to generate massive targeted leads to your products and using a very untapped traffic resource, and I'm going to be sharing with you how to start a podcast. Okay. And if you don't know what a podcast, by the end of this workshop, I guarantee you will know what a podcast is. If you don't know what I'm talking about, obviously that's why you're here, is to get the knowledge so you can go out there and tap into, the millions and millions of people that are now listening to podcasts. Okay. It's a blue ocean out there. And I'm going to share with you how to actually start your very own podcast and get your product or service, your business out there on a. Next, I'm going to share with you the 8-step process on how to produce your podcast. Okay, so once you learn how to start a podcast, I'm going to share with you actually how to produce your podcast and what actually goes into it. The tools, the software, everything that you need to know to actually produce your podcast. Okay. Next, we're going to be talking about how to actually launch a podcast. This is once you know the tools and all the softwares that you need in order for you to create your podcast. I'm going to share with you the launch formula in order for you to actually launch your podcast and really get out there to the world and tap into different resources that you can now really just tap into and help your podcast get out there to the world. All right. And once you launch it, I'm going to share with you how to grow your podcast audience. Okay. Audience is everything when it comes to marketing, when it comes to putting your product or service out there into the marketplace. And if you don't have an audience, if you don't have no one really seeing what you have to offer, then you really don't have a business. Okay. So I'm going to share with you how to create that audience, how to actually, create your avatar, how to actually come up with the idea of what you actually want to podcast. And I'm going to share with you all of this today workshop. And then finally, I'm going to share with you how to actually monetize your podcast. Okay. Once you created it, once you produced it, I'm going to share with you a few steps that you can actually do in order for you to actually monetize it and really make it a business and be able to go out there and create income from it. Okay. So if you guys are ready, go ahead and let me know. Type it in. Let me know that you're pumped up. And it's really time to get started, my friends. So if you're ready to go, we're at the starting line, and I'm gonna give it everything that I have to you tonight, and I'm gonna leave it all on the line, all in the field, and I'm just gonna put my whole heart into this workshop in order for you to actually get better as I grow and really help you explode your business. Okay, so if you're ready to get started, say aye, and let's go ahead and do it. Who am I and why should you listen to me? Okay, you're probably on this workshop, you never heard of my name before, you probably never heard of me, or maybe you have, but since 2010, I've been studying in direct response marketing under some of the highest multi-million-dollar earners, elite earners, I should say, such as the godfather of attraction marketing, Mike Dillard. Okay, some of you might know him. My buddy Jonathan Budd. Okay, a person that's really has helped me grow into the unstoppable warrior that I am, an unstoppable entrepreneur. And he's really shaped my path in life. And another person by the name of Dagan Smith. Okay, Godfather's marketing, really just a master at his craft and really marketing and just taking his business to the next level. Okay, these are all multi-million-dollar elite earners that I've been fortunate to be a student of and really just, have them coach me and share with me their secrets to building their empires. Some other mentors and partners of mine, Greg Gomez III, okay, an awesome marketer from Arizona, a person that has really had in my life and really in my business. Vince Reed, my partner, my mentor, a person that doesn't live too far away from me in Southern California. He's a seven-figure earner and really just a person that is, a humble mentor and really wants his students to succeed. And really I'm so grateful for what he's done in my life. And John Lee Dumas, okay, #1 podcaster out there, and I've been able to learn from him and really just take his secrets and now apply it into my own life and apply it into my own podcast and really be able to bring that knowledge back into the marketplace and share it with you, my friends. So a little bit about some people that I've been able to mentor and I've been able to be coached, from. So from for the last 5 years, I've received my online marketing education after long sleepless nights, investing well over $6,000, learning from these experts, attending multiple live events on an annual basis, always evolving. Okay, if there's one key thing that I can give you, all right, for me and my business has always been to find the events that I can friend up or mentor up, right, and find these people that are actually doing things and go out there and meet them and shake their hand, have a beer with them, and really get to know them and being able to now learn from them. Okay, and talking about live event, I'm actually going to live event in San Diego next month. Okay, where there's going to be, some big names in the online marketing industry and the network marketing and the MLM industries that are going to come together and how to explode your business in 2015. So live events, my friends, has been the number one thing that has changed my life and has shaped, and how I've been able to get around all these mentors that I just shared with you is because I met them at live events. I currently train and coach clients from different parts of the globe. I run a global business anywhere as long as I have my laptop or the internet connection, then I'm able to run a business and run, my podcast business and the things that I do, from affiliate marketing to podcasting to coaching. And it's really a laptop lifestyle type thing. So I've been a top income earner in tier affiliate opportunities created by a seven-figure earner and well-respected online marketer. I've placed in the top 10 in affiliate marketing competitions with elite earners like Mark Hoverson, Jonathan Budd, Ray Higdon, Greg Gomez, and William Rapp, to name a few. Now, I don't say all this to boost or brag. I say this because I understand that it's possible to create freedom online. Even if you struggled miserably like I did for 2.5 years, not making a single dime online, okay? If I can do it, then you can do it. And maybe after this you too will have the blueprint and strategy I used to do it. All right, so that's just a little bit about me. I'm not going to ramble on like a lot of other people do. I just want to give you a little quick, intro to my life and to my journey that I've been on the past 5 years, been exposed to, and now how I can help you in your life. Okay, so if you're ready, make sure you have your pen and paper out. Make sure you eliminate all the distractions. Get out of Facebook. Get out of Twitter. Get out. Sure you let the family know, hey, for the next 45 to 60 minutes, I'm going to be focused on getting better and really just enhancing my business so I can, really just create the life and the freedom that I really want to live. Okay, so make sure you eliminate all distractions, my friend. So I'm actually, like I mentioned in the beginning, I'm the founder and host of the Unstoppable Journey podcast. I launched in November, okay, so a few months back, and I've actually been awarded a few podcast awards. As a matter of fact, they just actually came in the mail, which was crazy. And I was actually awarded, most educational podcast, best new podcast of 2014, most inspirational podcast, best overall host, and best overall podcast. And here's a quick, a little blurb by Jackie. Is she wrote on my timeline, well deserved, Martin. I listened since I saw the results. I think you want something in every category for the most educational, second for best overall host, most inspiring, and best new show. Okay, so just a little bit, a little bit of social proof that that you're on the right workshop, and I actually have some value to actually share with you tonight. I hit iTunes new and noteworthy. Okay, we're going to be talking about a strategy that I use in order for me to actually hit the new and noteworthy in 3 different categories. I actually did it in education, technology, and what was the other one? Education, technology, and business. Okay, so education, technology, and business. And this is sort of an old slide, but we've actually have surpassed 61,000 downloads now. We're in over 47 different countries. So people are listening to the Unstoppable Journey podcast in over 47 different countries. So now it's a global. My mind when I first launched it was to go global, and now we're in 47 different countries. Really just being able to share my passions, my struggles, my journey, different strategies that I'm, using in my business, and bring on different guests that, that share their journey, their entrepreneur journey with not only myself, but with my audience, Warrior Nation. So I've been able to create a community of others that are, really just, loving the podcast. And I'm going to share with you how to actually do that and how I did it, most importantly, and how you can do it and model the things that I've been doing in order for next level. Okay, so I've been downloaded over, this is an old slide, it's over 61,000 now in over 47 different countries. So let's actually talk about, let's shift a little bit and let's talk about some major problems that people face and that I've heard from some, some of my coaching clients and some people that I, just marketers and people that are in the industry and that actually come to me and share with me different problems that they have when it comes to podcasting. Number one is, what is a podcast, right? You're probably asking, what is a podcast? Like, I've heard of it before, but what is an actual podcast? Like, what is the definition of a podcast? I'm going to be sharing with you that today in the next slide. Number two is, how do I find my topic? Okay, so once I know what a podcast is, how do I actually find a topic that I'm going to be talking about, and make sure that I find something that I'm passionate about? Because if you just pick a topic, any old topic, you can find that you can burn out and you don't have the passion to talk about it. You got to make sure that you're passionate about what you're talking about and also be an expertise in what you're talking about, right? So I'm going to share with you, a strategy that I was able to model, and I'm going to share with you tonight, and how you can actually model that. Okay. Three is how do I create a perfect avatar? Okay, so once I create the topic that I want to talk about, like, who is actually the people that I'm actually trying to put my podcast in front of, right? Who's the people that's actually going to listen to it? Okay, because if you think that everybody's going to listen to your podcast, everybody's going to watch your service, and everybody's going to want to do business with you, then you're in for a rude awakening, my friend. Because not everybody's going to like what you have, not everybody's going to want to join you, not everybody's going to want to do business with you. Okay, so the key is finding that perfect avatar. Know them more than they know themselves. Okay, you know where they're hanging out, you know what they're listening to, you know what they're consuming more than they know themselves. Okay, when you know that, when you understand that, then you can now be in front of them because you know their next move, okay, and what they like to do. So I'm gonna share with you um a quick guide to actually finding your perfect avatar. All right. And number four is not knowing the tools and softwares to use when it comes to actually creating the podcast. Okay. And this is something that was huge for me. Okay. I actually was to podcast in a live event. Okay. The same live event that I talked about earlier. It was last year. And John Lee Dumas, the number one podcaster, came on stage and talked about podcasting. And I just thought, man, this is a great way to get out there to the world and really just share a message and really share value with others. And I ran with it, but it took me a few months. That was back in April, and I didn't launch mine until November. So I did procrastinate for quite a few months just because a lot of it wasn't the excuse in my own head, but the excuse was, well, I don't know the tools and softwares that I need. And the crazy thing, I had a few of the tools that are required. I already had them with me, but if for some reason there was a blockage in my mind saying that I don't have the tools and software, I don't know it, right? It's that thing that we all get as humans, okay? Especially if we're trying, I guess it's getting that out of that comfort zone, right? And you wanting to learn a new skill set. This is what you're doing tonight, folks, is you're learning that skill set. I'm sharing with you a skill set that you can now take and now run with, okay? But the tools and softwares, I'm going to share with you what I use and what you can actually use, different things that are out there that can now aid you in creating your very own podcast. And number five is not knowing how to leverage iTunes. iTunes is a humongous platform where there's millions and millions of people. And I'm going to share with you a few stats in later slides, but iTunes, not knowing how to leverage iTunes. Okay, once you know, okay, the tools and the softwares, you know your perfect avatar, you know the topic you're going to talk about. Okay, how do what is the next step to actually putting it out there and leveraging all the platforms that are out there to your advantage. Okay. And that's a major problem people come up against, and it really stops them in their tracks. And then number 6 is really how to monetize your podcast. As I share with you what a podcast is in the later slide, you know I'm going to share with you actually how to monetize it as well. Okay, a few strategies that you can do to actually go out there and really create some income from it, and help really just put yourself out there, and really make this a career if you really choose to. Okay, it could be a hobby, but it also could be a career where you can actually create income from it. You can monetize it. And one thing that all those mentors that I showed you in the previous slides, they're able to put their business, okay, they have a primary business, but they're able to put their business in front of others, and they're able to cash flow even when somebody doesn't join their business. Okay, and that's why they're successful. They have mastered the art of creating that cash flow even if nobody joins their business. Okay, so you might thinking, well, what does that mean? Well, I'll share with you in a bit what I'm actually talking about. So number 6, how to actually monetize your podcast. So today, my friend, all the nerve shattering, uncomfortable phobias and deceptions stop tonight. Okay, all the things that the lies that you're telling yourselves, you're rationalizing things. Okay, rationalizing is just rational lies. Okay, you're rationalizing your lies and the stories that you're telling yourself within your mind, and all that stops today. Okay, if you believe that you don't have the tools in the software, I'm going to share with you the tools in the software. If you don't know what a podcast is, I'm going to share with you what a podcast is. If you don't know the launch formula to actually get out there into the different platforms, I'm going to share with you the launch formula tonight, folks. Okay, so all the phobias and we're going to crush it. We're going to break through those barriers in your mind so you can actually go out there and create and produce your very own podcast. So now let's talk about the innovation and technology that have radically altered the way someone shares their opportunity with folks. Okay, with technology like mobile, like tablets, all these new technologies have really altered the way we share our opportunity with folks. All right, it's the key to growing massive downlines while producing cash when joins your primary business. And that's what I was mentioning. All those mentors of mine that I shared with you, they've mastered how to actually create cash flow even when no one joins their primary business. And with podcasting, I'm going to be sharing with you how to do that. If you want to create a seismic shift in your income, influence, and your ability to friction-free recruit, then using podcasting is one of the best ways I've found to get in front of thousands of people who are actively searching for what it is that I have to offer. Okay, so with podcasting, I've been able to really just explode the people that are actually now being exposed to my message, my now into the world on a consistent weekly basis. And now I'm able to tap into that world because it's really a blue ocean. And I've been able to unlock those doors and been able to jump into the blue ocean, and tonight I want to share with you how you can actually do it as well. So let's get into what is a podcast. Okay, you might be asking yourself, what is a podcast? Maybe this is the first time you're ever hearing about a podcast, and you're intrigued, but you just don't know what it is. So let's actually dive into it. Well, a podcast is a digital audio file made available on the internet for downloading to a computer or a portable media player. Okay, it's typically available as a series, new installments of which can be received by subscribers. Okay, so there's a host and then there's the listener, right? So it's an audio file that you create that now can be downloaded onto either a computer, or now with mobile going global, you can be really, I'm in 47 different countries, but you can be global. You can, my goal is to get into 100 different countries, okay, by the end of the year, because mobile is really taking over our lives. And there's people in third world countries that have iPhones, and it's crazy. I don't even have an iPhone. I have a Samsung, right? But my point is, you can now tap into an endless resources of traffic that we've never been able to expose before in human history. So this is all evolving, and it's just a great way to tap into that. So it's an audio file that someone records it, and then on the other end of it, someone is actually downloading it and consuming it in their ears. Okay, it's an audio file as opposed to a video or workshop or a webinar or a hangout, right? It's an audio version. Okay, if we go into if we go deeper than that, okay, you can create a video podcast as well. Okay, which is audio and video, but right now I'm just going to keep it simple and just talk about the audio file that someone downloads. So let me just break down 5 reasons to consider podcasting in the first place. Okay, if I haven't intrigued you already, I want to talk to you about 5 reasons that when I learned about this, I was like, man, this just blew my mind. I was like, man, if I could tap into this resource, if I could just open the doors to this new blue ocean, you know, the sky is the limit on this. Okay, and here are some facts for those of you that like facts. Okay, so number one, it's on demand. Listeners don't have to say no to something to say yes to podcasting. They can actually listen in while driving their car. Okay, and I'm going to talk about CarPlay. They can listen in while they're exercising. They can listen in and pumping weights. They can listen while they're talking or having doing walks in nature, etc. Right? And they can actually consume you while they're doing something else, while they're cleaning the house. They can be consuming your podcast, and it's a great way, and it's on demand. Okay, it's on demand right now. And what I'm talking about, the CarPlay is, if you can see this picture right here, there's a purple icon right there, which is an app, and it's the iTunes podcast app, right? And now in 2015, all the new cars that have a dashboard actually can download this app. Okay, this is huge, guys. When I heard this is huge, because now as consumers, we don't have to actually listen to the radio anymore. Okay, with all these crazy commercials, and I don't know about you, but I don't really listen to radio anymore, but there's commercials after commercials after commercials, and there's just music that plays that you don't even want to listen to at certain times. Okay, or they overplay it, right? With podcasts, you now have a choice. Okay, you now have the choice to what you want to consume, and you can now be in people's cars while they commute to work, while they're in traffic, while they're going on their on their trip away, whatever it is. You can now be there, and they can now consume you, and that's huge. Okay, it just opens up yourself and your business to a new audience. Number 2, it's targeted and free. Let's talk about targeted first, and then we'll talk about free. So let's talk about what interests you. In iTunes, they have 16 different categories within podcasting. Okay, and they even have hundreds of subcategories. So when I say what interests you, there's podcasts about cooking, okay, health and wellness, business, entrepreneurs. There's paranormal. There's there's teaching. There's history. There's so many different podcasts. Okay, wood making. I can go on and on. There's hundreds of subcategories that you can actually tap into, and when you're able to do that, you can get really, really targeted and find your niche and find your tribe that you're going to serve, right? Your job is not to serve everybody. I know everybody wants to serve everybody, but that's the wrong way to look at marketing. You want to find a tribe, you want to find a community that you can build and that you can actually, really just serve. Okay, if my mentors, what they've taught me is you gotta create a community, you gotta create a tribe in order for you to serve them. That's how you're gonna succeed in these games. You can really do that. And another thing that is cool about podcasting is there's 525 million active users on iTunes. Okay, 525 million people that you can actually tap into on a monthly basis. There's 350 million who access iTunes okay, and which is crazy. All right. Do you see this podcast app right there that's actually pointing to that purple icon that I talked about that was in CarPlay? If you have an iPhone, I don't have an iPhone, but if you have an iPhone, they now have this purple app, which is the podcast app. that cannot be removed, okay? And that's on your phone, and that is prime real estate for podcasters because 315 million access is on their iPhone. So if they're seeing that purple icon on a consistent basis, what do you think's happening? They're clicking on that icon and they're looking and browsing for new podcasts to consume. And if you are in the podcast, world now, okay, now after tonight, I'm going to share with you how to do it. You can tap into these millions of new people that you that you can't tap into on just by trying to talk to your friends and family, or going chasing people around malls, or stalking people at Starbucks or at Coffee Bean or anything like that, right? you know uh, and you're now able to tap into these millions just by having your own podcast, okay? You can find podcasts that is focused on the exact topics and interests that you have. All right. So you have the choice now. You have the freedom to choose what you consume. All right. And if you don't like it, then you simply have the choice not to listen to it. Okay. It's not like the radio. If you have a favorite station and you don't like a certain song, it's usually the DJ or the MC that's hosting the show that has the power to control what you listen to and what you to your mind. And with podcasting, you are now given that power. You are given that power to choose what it is that you want to listen to. And best of all, podcasting is free. Yes, you heard that right. Podcasting is free. You have unlimited content you can now stream or download absolutely for nothing. Okay, a major reason podcast hosts are building massive audience is because it's free. All right, and you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, it's free, but how do you make money? Well, you're getting ahead of yourself. I'm going to share with you how to actually monetize in the later slides. But you know anytime something is free, it's awesome, right? Who doesn't love free? I know I love free. So podcasting was something that really attracted me because you can now, if you're a host, you can create unlimited content and people can download that content for nothing, okay? Absolutely free. And that exposes you to millions and millions, if not billions of people across the world. And you can now use that as a tool to get out there and share your message with others. Number three, it allows the host to build an intimate connection with their audience. Our first earthly experience as a child is hearing voices. Okay, when we're in our mother's womb, we are able to. It's scientifically proven that we can hear voices, and we can hear our mother's voice or our father's voice, or just people's voices, and we're drawn to voices in a powerful way. And always will be. Okay, it's just part of our human nature that we're really just exposed to and we love hearing voices. So podcast being an audio, we are now able to tap into people's get tapped into their ears and really just have them really know, like, and trust us. Okay, so when you ask the question, okay, by building an audience, by building a community, by building a tribe, when you ask a question, what are you struggling with? Believe it or not, they actually will tell you what they're struggling with. You can actually create a solution to their struggle. All right. And with that, your first product is born. And I'm gonna put a little hint there, right? I was actually watching on the History Channel, The Men Who Built America. Okay, it talked about the great men in the industrial age, and you know everything in business. The reason why people explode and they create these great empires is because they're able to see the future. Not only that, but they're able to see a problem, and they're now able to create a solution to that problem. Okay, anytime you have a problem in the marketplace, if you are able to find that solution and help somebody else solve that problem, you can create wealth with that. Okay, that's a formula that Ford, the Rockefellers of the world, the Carnegies of the world. When they're able to do that, they were able to now build wealth and build empires that that really created that legacy for themselves. So you get a hint, that's why we're actually doing this workshop today, is because I was able to go to my and ask them, what are you actually struggling with? And they actually let me know what it is that they were struggling with. And now that's how I'm able now to create this workshop. Number 4, your ability to leverage directories. Okay. And iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and SoundCloud are the 3 major directories that, they're the 3 ones. There's a lot more, but these are the three major directories that you can tap into. And they all have one thing in common, my friend. Okay. One thing in common. They are have a massive communities searching for their content through their platform. Okay. These 3 major directories are platforms. Okay. And there's millions and millions of people that go to these platforms on a consistent basis. And now you're able to tap into that. Okay. When you become a host of a podcast, you now are able to go into these directories and now have endless amounts of people that are now exposed to your podcast. Okay, so the 3 major ones are iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and SoundCloud. Okay, there's other ones, but these are the three we'll be talking about tonight. Number 5, you're able to build authority and credibility in your niche. When you interview other successful entrepreneurs or other successful people, okay, you now are associated with them. Okay, and perception is reality. All right, let me just, what did you think about when I showed you the pictures of, my mentors in the past slides? Okay, automatically you probably thought, wow, how was he able to get pictures with those guys, right? You're probably one of their students, right? Just like I am. And you're probably like, how did he get that, right? Well, when you're associated with someone, now you're here. Even if you're watching the replay, you're probably thinking, wow, how was Martin able to do that? Okay, well, when you're able to build a podcast and you're now interviewing other successful people that people know and they like and they trust, and they see you now with them, that actually builds authority and credibility with you. Okay, when you're able to when you have a platform, you are building credibility as someone who knows how to create value. All right. When you have a podcast and you're able to tap into these platforms, you're able to now create value within the marketplace, and the marketplace then rewards you because of that value. All right. That's another great reason why podcasting is so. When you serve an audience with value consistently and for free, you're building credibility with them as they are growing to know, like, and trust you. And that's very, very powerful in this day and age. Okay. I mean, I can't stress that enough. When you're able to consistently provide value, okay, and that's what all my mentors, one in particular, Vince Reed, he always, comes to me and tells me, you got to be consistent. You got to be consistent. You got to provide value out there into the marketplace. And that's really what, why this podcast is, this workshop was created as well, is because the more value I can put out into the world, the more, I'm going to grow as an entrepreneur, the more I'm going to grow as, and that I'm trying to really just, become. And, people really start to take into effect and really start considering yourself as an authority figure if you're able to, really just create something that is valuable for their life. So now that you know a little bit about what podcasting is, and why you shouldn't even consider podcasting, and what's once I took you into the vision of it and gave you a few facts, let's actually now go into finding your topic. Okay, so what are you actually going to talk about? And I want you to, if you have your notes out, okay, I want you to draw a line in the middle of the notes, and on the left side, I want you to put passion. Okay, put the word passion. On the right, I want you to put expertise. Okay, so put those two words, passion and expertise. And this is an exercise that I was able to go through, and I didn't create this exercise, but I was able to model it, and now I'm able to share it with you because I've actually taken action on this, and that's how I created the Unstoppable Journey. But when you're able to find your passion, and passion is something that you really love doing. Okay, you really love, like for me, let me just give you a quick example. For me, passion is, I love exploring, I love traveling, I love providing value, and just helping people, okay, and building my networks. And that's really what I'm passionate about. And really just having freedom as well. Okay, so that's something that I'm really passionate about. Expertise on the other side, on the right side, expertise is anything. I mean, no matter how old you are, how long you've been on this planet, whether it's 18 years, 20 years, 30 years, 60, 70, it doesn't really matter. We all have walked a different path along our own personal journey, and we all acquired certain skills along that journey. Okay, if you tell me, I'm not an expert in anything, then that's pretty much BS, because you've acquired skills along your journey. All right, and that makes you an expert in something. Okay, you just got to dig deeper. When someone comes to me, any of my clients or personal coaching clients that I have, they say, and I take them through this exercise, and they say, well, I'm not expertise at anything, then that's really just a cop out. We have to dig deeper, and we have to get into, okay, well, what have you learned along your 48 years on this planet? You haven't learned anything, right? You haven't went to school, you haven't learned a trade, you haven't done something, right? And then they start breaking it down. Well, yeah, I went to, I really love to cook, I'm a chef. Okay, we're getting somewhere here. Or I know how to fix cars, or fix machines, or fix computers, or I know how to create websites, or I know how to drive, different things like that, right? So that makes you an expertise in something. Okay, you've been a teacher, you've been, a principal, you've been, a CEO of a major corporation or a company, right? You're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur. You have some type of expertise. And when you're able to do this exercise, we come to a point in time where we call what's called the zone of genius. Okay, and when you're able to create a topic, a podcast topic on your passions and then your expertise, and you're able to intermingle them, right? That is what we call a zone of genius, and that is something that you can now bring into the marketplace and be the expert in. Okay, and you now have passion, you now have expertise working in your favor, and now you just don't create a podcast that 5 days from now is going, you're not going to know what to talk about, right? You're not going to be passionate about, because believe me, you have to be passionate about what you do in life. If not, you're going to burn out, and you're going to find something else that is really, pulling you toward your passions, and you're going to let this go. And however, if you flip it, and you start with your passion and your expertise, and you create the zone of genius, then you really can create something magical that is going to impact others around the world, and really just create that global footprint, and that legacy that you leave others with. Okay, my podcast Unstoppable Journey is the legacy I'm leaving to the world, that I'm creating to really just leave, because as a podcast, as long as it's up there, you can definitely hear it. Okay, it'll be on iTunes forever. So that's my legacy. All right, one of my legacies that and if I'm going too fast for you guys, okay, first of all, before I continue, let me just get a drink of water, and let me know if you're getting value. All right, let me just type in, let me see if there's any questions. All right, so let me know if you're getting value. All right, and let's now talk about crafting your perfect avatar. Okay, crafting your perfect avatar, and who's actually going to, who are you going to attract to your podcast? Okay, so now you know that what a podcast is. Now you know how to create your zone of genius. Okay, and if you need more time, make sure, and if you're watching this replay, you can always pause this and go back. Time to do this exercise. Don't skip it, guys, because this is really the foundation. Okay, if you want to build a skyscraper, you don't build a skyscraper from the top to the bottom. Okay, or you don't even build a skyscraper from the ground, the top of the ground up. You actually have to dig deep within the ground, down below, in order for that to of the skyscraper. Okay, this is what we're doing right now. Okay, we're digging deep, we're getting all the things that we need in order for you to have a successful podcast. So don't skip, really creating that zone of genius, because that's going to fuel what it is that you're talking about, what you're passionate about, what your expertise is in, what you're now going to bring into the marketplace. Okay, so once you understand that, now the next step is creating your perfect avatar. And this is actually a person. Okay, and this is going deeper than just demographics or male or female or ages of 18 and 35. This is really digging deep and crafting this one person that you are talking to. Okay, so for the Unstoppable Journey, my avatar, his name is Henry. He's 32 years old. He's married with a wife. He has two children, ages 5 and 7. He drives to work 30 minutes and 45 minutes back from work because he's in traffic. Okay. He secretly wants to get out of the 9 to 5 grind, and he really wants to create his own economy to spend more time with his family. All right. So he's a person that is perfect to listen to my podcast because he has this urge and this urge to get out of his 9 to 5 grind, to really spend more time with his family, with his wife, with his kids, and really have this freedom and create his own economy. But he still works that 9 to 5 job at the moment. So, he goes to work, he comes back from work, he goes to the gym, but he's listening to a journey, and you know, I have crafted this person, and that's who I speak to when I'm creating my podcast. And that's, if you create your own avatar, okay, and you go beyond just the everything, the demographic. If you dig deeper and you really go into naming your avatar, getting his age, getting if he's married or single, if he has any kids or not, or if she has any kids, okay, do they commute to work, or do they stay at home, or what are they? If you understand that, now you know what they actually are doing on an everyday basis. You're now able to craft that podcast so they can want to listen more of what you're actually offering. Okay, does that make sense? So crafting your perfect avatar, don't skip this exercise either, because when you know your avatar, you now know where they're hanging out at. Like for me, I know where Henry hangs out at. He goes to live events. He goes to networking events. He reads, entrepreneur. He loves traveling. So I know where to find this, I know where to find Henry at, okay, because I know him more than he knows himself. So that's how I've been able to really scale up my podcast downloads and the people that actually listen to the Unstoppable Journey. So make sure you go through this exercise of crafting your perfect avatar and really just dig deep than just the normal, finding demographics and the age and the stuff. But dig deeper, name your avatar, and really drive it home by doing this exercise. Okay, so now let's talk about some system requirements. What is actually required in order for you to actually create your podcast? And there's really three things that you need. Number one, you need a computer or either a tablet, right? You can now do podcasts on tablets. You need a microphone, okay, because remember, it's audio, so you need something to capture your voice in order for somebody else can hear it on the end of their device, right, once they download it. And you need a recording and editing software. Okay, so really three things that you need: a computer, a microphone, and recording and editing software. So let's actually just talk about the microphones real quick. Okay, I'm gonna go from low to high. Okay, so low, there's a Logitech Clear Chat, which is $29. This is actually what I'm actually using right now. Okay, actually, before I started my podcast, I had the Logitech. Okay, I got it at Best Buy, and you can find it either at Best Buy or Amazon.com, and it's only $29, $30. Okay, so this is really good. I mean, it's you can hear clearly. You can get your podcast up and running. It's not gonna cost you a lot of money, and you can especially if you're on a budget. This is something that I recommend picking up for $20 more, okay, or $30 more. You can get the medium version, which is the ATR 2100. It looks like this. Okay, it's a mic, and this one, the large takes about a 7.5 to an 8. Okay, in ratings, and the ATR 2100 is about 8.5 to 9. Okay, so as far as quality is concerned, all right. So but if you don't want to spend the $60 to get this, you can go with the the Logitech Clear, and you can get your podcast started up and running as one of the things that you need. Okay, remember, you need a microphone, you need a computer, and you need recording and editing software. And if you want to go with the Cadillac of them all, is the Hill PR. It's $327. Looks like this bad boy right here. Okay. Eventually, I'm gonna move up to this, but right now, right, I'm just being unstoppable, and I'm just cranking out my podcast. And I really love the Logitech Clear Channel just because it's a USB. I'm able to plug it into my laptop, and I'm able to take it anywhere I go. So it works for me. Eventually, I'll be moving up the ladder, but hey, um, you know, I'm letting you know that you don't need to have the PR, the $327 one, to get started. You can start off with the Logitech and get your podcast up and going. So I want to share with you the 8-step process to producing your podcast now. Okay, so now that I share with you how to create it, now producing it is, the next step in the process. So there's 8 steps. Number 1 is recording your podcast. Number 2 is adding an intro to your podcast. Number 3 is exporting once you create it, you have to export it. Okay. Number 4 is tagging your MP3 file. Okay, just like anything, you want to tag it, because when you upload to the different directories that are out there, then they need to know what it is that you're actually what are these files contain. So you have to tag your MP3s, and I'm going to share with you how to actually do that. Number 5 is uploading your podcast. Okay, uploading it to different hosting sites, which I'll talk about in a bit. Number 6 is scheduling your podcast. Okay, actually scheduling it out so it can be produced and really go to different directories. Number seven is publishing it. Okay, so once it's scheduled out, you can actually hit publish, and it goes out to the different directories. And number 8, it's iTunes. So iTunes can pick it up, and you can tap into millions and millions of people that I talked about earlier. You can now be exposed to them. Okay, so that's the 8 simple step process to producing a podcast. And I'm going to go into a little demo in a bit of actually how to do that. But that's really, there's really only 8 steps to the podcasting, process when it comes down to it. Okay, so here's the recording software that you're going to need in order for you to actually record your podcast. And I'm going to talk about 3 of them tonight. Number 1 is Audacity. Okay, that's their logo. The cool thing about this Audacity, and this is what I'm going to share with you tonight because this is what I use, but it's actually free. Okay, you don't have to spend any money to actually get started. Again, all the excuses that you're probably telling yourself is going to cost so much money, I'm going to need to buy a new computer, all this stuff that you're just, all these stories that you're telling yourself. Okay, because I know I told myself these stories, so I'm pretty sure, or even if you're watching the replay, you probably have had these doubts in your mind, because we're all humans, right? We all have these limiting beliefs, right, that stop us from getting to where we want to get to. And I'm going to share with you that you don't need a lot of money to actually start your podcast. Okay, if anything, you need more time to really produce it and have it go out there. It's a great software. You can do a search on Google, just Google Audacity. It's free. Just download it to your computer. Okay, and start using it. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate a little bit about Audacity in a bit, but Audacity is number 1 recording software. There's another one, GarageBand. Okay, for the Mac users. I'm a PC user. I don't have a Mac, so if you have a Mac, you have GarageBand in your Mac. Okay, it comes with it. That's free. You recording on GarageBand and really just start your podcast like that. Okay, it's a recording software. It's an editing software. You don't have to spend more money on it or anything like that. It comes free with your MacBook. Okay. And then there's Adobe Audition. Okay. Adobe Audition is one that is a monthly fee. I believe it's like $20 a month in order for you to use the software so you can edit and record. for me, I use Audacity. That's just what I came in with. It's free. I don't have to pay a monthly fee, and I thought it was great, and I started mastering Audacity. So I didn't move to anything else yet. So, but if you don't want to use Audacity, you can use GarageBand. If you don't want to use GarageBand, you can pay a monthly fee and use Adobe Audition. It's all up to you. Okay, you have three choices here in order for you to actually go out there and create your podcast. Okay, so three GarageBand and Adobe Audition. So now let's talk about hosting. Okay, and there's a few spots that you can host. Okay, I host my podcast uh, by UK, or it's short for Liberated Syndication. Libsyn actually pioneered the system to host and publish podcasts in 2004. Okay, so podcasting is not new, but it's getting more popular as as all these new technologies and mobile phones and Google and Apple CarPlay and all these Android apps are coming out. It's just it's easier to download, to consume as it than it was in 2004. So since then, they've actually have grown to the largest leading podcast network in the world. In 2011, Libsyn hosted over 10,000 shows with over 1.6 billion downloads. Okay, so Libsyn, the reason why I chose it, I mean, number one, they have really good customer service, but at the same time, they also share with you a lot of data that I wanted to know about my podcast. They share with you how many downloads are coming in, how many people are downloading. They share with you, listening in from around the world. They show you, what your show stats. So it's just a lot more data that I wanted to have. Okay, and I'm just loving Libsyn. Okay. There's also SoundCloud. SoundCloud is another platform that you can use and utilize to host your podcast. Okay, and these are two of them. All right, so either Libsyn or SoundCloud, whatever you feel like going with. I recommend checking them out both. Checking both of them out. And for me, I use Libsyn just because it has a little bit more stats and data than SoundCloud. But you can check them both out. So those are two hosting platforms that you can now tap into and hosting. If you don't know what a host if you have a blog, okay, or blogs out there, they actually have to host it somewhere in order for them to have their pages up and and own it. So that's the same thing. You have to host your MP3 file somewhere. So there's companies like Libsyn or SoundCloud that you can now, and platforms that you can now tap into and have them host it. Okay, so for as little as $5, you can start your podcasting career and use Libsyn. Okay, so just depending on how much you're actually producing. I do a weekly podcast, so I actually have to go up to the $20 one, but that one actually unlocked all the stats that I was looking for. Anyway, it's a win-win situation for me. So, but I recommend you checking out what you think you feel comfortable with. But the two platforms are Libsyn and SoundCloud. So actually, let's go into a quick demo. Let me get a quick drink of water, and let me actually go here and share. And let me know if you're getting value, my friend. If you're getting value from tonight, let me know. I'm super pumped up, and I'm just ready to rock it and continue giving you value. So if you're excited, let me know. If you're excited, I'm pumped up to continue to share with you all the knowledge that I have about really just being able to produce a podcast. So let's actually go here 1 second. Let me get set up on my Audacity. It looks like it's recovering a few of my past podcasts. So give me 1 quick second, guys. And if you have any questions, right now is the time to ask. If you have any questions, even if you're watching the replay, it doesn't matter. I'll still be able to get the questions. Okay, so if you have a question, anything that I covered so far within the workshop, let me know. Okay, let me know, and we'll make sure to get to them at the end of the workshop. Okay, so one more quick second, guys. Looks like Audacity is okay. Perfect. So let's go here. New. Okay, so let me share my screen real quick. And oh yeah, um, Audacity. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen now. Screen. Let me just double check. Okay, cool, perfect. All right, so this is Audacity. This is one of the softwares that I mentioned earlier in the previous slides, and this is what you actually use in order to record your audio, okay, that someone's going to consume. So what you want to do is just hit new, okay, just hit new. And again, in the 8-step process, you got to have, one of the steps is having an intro and exporting it, tagging and all that good stuff, right? So let me just take you in through how I do it, and I'll just give you a quick demo. So I want to hit this record button right here. This is actually the intro to the podcast. This is where you're going to put the intro and have the intro, talking a little bit about your podcast. So you go ahead and hit stop, and it should have recorded. I'm not sure why it didn't. What happened here? Give me 1 second. Why didn't it record? Okay, 1 second, I think. All right. Let me just try it over real quick. This section right here is for your intro. This is where you're going to have the intro, explain a little bit about your podcast. Boom. You can actually go like this. You can delete right here. You can delete this over here. Okay, so that's the intro. All right, so now this second potatoes of your podcast, where you're going to be talking about the core content of your message for the podcast that you're actually producing. So we actually hit that, okay? Okay, so then we can even grab this, put it up here, and go ahead and delete that. All right, so that's the meat and potatoes of your podcast. That would of it. All right, and then we just have an outro, okay? This is the outro of your podcast. Okay, boom, little small thing like that. We can go ahead and grab this and put it up here. And that is your podcast, my friend. I mean, obviously this is a demo, okay, but this is basically what you would create. So what do you want to do now? You actually want to export it now, okay? So part of the process, the 8-step process, is now exporting it and tagging it, okay? So let's actually tag this as PBM4. I'll go ahead and hit enter. Okay, this is where you tag your file now. Okay, let me just make sure that 1 second. Is that not showing my screen? What's going on here? 1 second, guys. I want to be able to show you my screen because it's important, right? Where is my screen? I think it's this one. Okay. All right. You guys should be able to see it. If hopefully you guys can see it. Can you guys see my screen? All right, you should be able to see my screen, but this is where you tag this file. Okay, so you're gonna tag it. I'm gonna go ahead and tag it. Okay, so you're gonna tag it. There it is. I'm gonna tag this. So you'll have the artist name. Okay, you have the artist name. You'll have, and for some reason it's not showing up on my screen. Apologize on that. It should be showing up, but just know that once you export it, there's gonna be a pop-up screen that comes up that has the artist name, the track title, the album title, the track number, the year, and then the genre that you want to tag it as. Okay, and what this does, it actually lets iTunes, Stitcher Radio, directories know what this MP3 file is because you tagged it. If you wouldn't have tagged it they would not know what this MP3 file is. So you want to make sure that once you tag it, you hit OK, and then boom, you saw that it exported it. All right, so once you do that, once you have recorded it and once you exported it, okay, then now what you want to do is you actually want to go to 1 second here, all these, let me just close all these windows. All right, so once you do that, sure that you go to the hosting, okay, which will be for me would be Libsyn, okay. So once you go there, give me 1 second. Let me just switch my screens up real quick. Probably getting a black screen. Um, this is Libsyn, okay, liberated syndication. All right, you guys should be able to see my screen. If you can see my screen, let me know. All right, perfect. Looks like you can. What you do here, again, for as little as $5 per month, you can start your podcasting career and you can get it out there to the world. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in, and as it's thinking, it's a little slow today, but that's Hangouts for you, technology. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. And this is the dashboard of Libsyn. Okay, so as you can see, 61,656 downloads over my short career in podcasting. Okay, which is really exploding because there's people that have been doing podcasting for years and they have, they get, 100 downloads a month. So 61,000 in the last few months. I mean, that's exploding, and that's just something that, I'm about. So what you want to do with that file that you just created, you would simply go to content, okay? You would simply go to add new episode. And once you add new episode, okay, as it thinks, you would simply just hit add media file. Okay, so you would hit this add media file, hit upload from hard drive. You would find the podcast that you are actually, where you actually did it. I put it on my desktop. Okay, there's my desktop, and I'm going to look for podcast, my podcast folder. There it is. And I named it MPB4. There it is. Okay. So now, as you can see, it's uploading, right? And it's not a big file, so it's going to upload fast. If you have interviews or anything like that, it's, anywhere between 30 and 45 minutes. It might take you a minute or so for it to upload, but that just means it has a lot more content. So you just got to be a little bit patient, and you can actually now title your podcast. So this, all right, this is a section for the title. This is the subtitle. All right. And this is all going to show up on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, SoundCloud. Okay. So these are the titles, the subtitles. You can even add a description. All right, this is where you add a description. All right. Another thing that I like about Libsyn is it's a syndication platform. So you can actually tweet, you can Facebook, you can connect other social platforms to your to your account. So once you hit publish, it will actually go out to all the social networks that you actually set up, which is really cool because now you create leverage for yourself, and that's how you actually can really just put your business on autopilot and really have it go out there by clicking one button, and now it's exposed to many different sites, which is really awesome. Now, part of the process is now scheduling your podcast, right? So right here, you would schedule it. Let me just share with you how to schedule it. Okay. So hit basic release. All right. So set new release dates. Okay. So I'm actually going to set it for March 25th, but I'm going to do it at 2025. So March 25th, 2025 at 12 p.m. I didn't grab. Um, so March 25th, 2025 at 12 p.m., this podcast that I just uploaded will be released. Okay. Since I don't want it to release because I actually don't want it to go onto my podcast, right? I'm putting it at that date. But you would pick any date. What's cool about that is that let's just say that you want to go on vacation with your family, or you have this getaway that you want to take your wife or husband or kids with too, but you still want a podcast. You can actually create the podcast in advance and then just set it up as published for the days that you're actually on vacation or you're on a getaway, and your podcast is still running, so your business is still where you are there or not. And that is the freedom that we all want to create. Okay. And podcasting is just, you know, this now enables you to do that. All right. So let me go ahead and hit publish. And as it's publishing, okay, so now it's published. This is the section for the title. That's what I named it. Okay, obviously, this is direct download. This is a permalink. You can actually put it on your website if you want. Okay, there's also a Libsyn directory URL, so you actually get your own website within Libsyn, which is cool. And if you want to see that, if you actually did it right, you just go to scheduled for release, and you go into that folder, and it lets me know that obviously this is the title that I named it, but it's going to be published, will be published on Tuesday, March 25th, 2025 at 12 p.m. So that one is already ready to go. So as that day comes, this one will automatically be published. So you can have, 10, 20, 30, however you want to pre-record and have them already scheduled out, which, I am now, really just shifting to, because I really just I love having one go out every single day, but there's times that I face where I couldn't get one out. So I'm now going to share with you, what I'm doing is one of the breakthroughs is really just scheduling my podcast out there so they can go out, whether I'm actually producing it for that day or not, it's already scheduled. So that's another great way to create leverage in your business and still be able to put out valuable content to your audience and have them, really just grow with you. So that is another way to actually. That's another step in the process. And then lastly, what you want to do is you want to go and now take it to iTunes, right? So this is key right here. This is what you want to write on your notes as being key. You're going to have to get an RSS. In order for you to submit it to iTunes, you need an RSS feed in order for them to actually, grab all your episodes that you ever produce. So this is the RSS feed right here that you're going to need in order for you to go out there and really just share it with iTunes, Stitcher Radio, SoundCloud, all of them. All right. So you're going to copy this, and I just open my iTunes real quick. And as that's uploading, if you have any questions, guys, go ahead and let me know. Type them in. If you have questions. All right, so as iTunes is getting ready, let's actually go there now. Okay, so let me just switch over. Let me switch my screen real quick, and let's go to iTunes. All right, so it's actually loading. And iTunes, guys, iTunes, again, over 525 million people access iTunes on a monthly basis. And if you can now tap into that traffic, I mean, the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit when you can now tap into that type of traffic. So I'm now on iTunes, and it's taking just a little bit longer than what I thought, maybe because we're on it. It's thinking right now, guys. So if you don't have an iTunes account, you're definitely gonna need to set one up. Okay, it's free. You will have to use free to create an account. They're not gonna charge you anything. It's free to create a podcast. So don't think that you need to you're not gonna get charged anything to create your podcast or anything like that. They just need a credit card in order, if you want to, buy songs or movies or anything, have one on your account. But in order for you to produce a podcast, you don't need to pay anything. Okay, so here's the new and noteworthy right here, the section that I was talking about that I was able to get into. And this is the very first page that people see when they log into iTunes. So this is prime real estate right here. Okay, all these podcasts right here are new and they're noteworthy. Okay, and where a lot of traffic, and I'm going to share with you a formula how to actually get onto the new and noteworthy in a bit. But all this right here is actually a this is there, this is millions and millions of eyeballs that are now tapping into your podcast. And how I was able to get into that, well, there's a few in order for me to do that. So and then there's different like, remember I talked about the categories. There's business, comedy, education, games and hobbies, government, organizations, health, kids and family, music, news and politics, religion, spiritual, science, medicine, society, culture, sports, recreation, technology. There's a whole bunch of different types of categories. So make sure that you're doing that exercise where you're finding your zone of genius, and you can actually create your podcast that is going to really help you continue to really just put out valuable content. So what you want to do now is you want to go ahead and hit this button right here where it says submit a, hit that button right there. And what you're going to do is you're going to upload that RSS feed that I was talking about that I just grabbed from Libsyn, right? Or if you're using SoundCloud, there's going to be an RSS feed right there as well. So you would grab that RSS feed and you would paste it here. Okay, mine is the unstoppablejourney.com. unstoppablejourney.libsyn.com/RSS. That's the RSS feed. So anytime I release a podcast, automatically tells iTunes that I just released a podcast. So it automatically goes into iTunes once I hit that publish button. Okay, or once the published podcast goes out, it automatically goes into the directories, and people that have subscribed to the podcast will now get a little notification that I released a new podcast. So you would hit continue. I'm not going to hit continue because I don't want to. I already have an RSS feed. I don't want to, mess up anything and let them know that I have the same exact one. But that's exactly the formula, the 8-step process to actually getting your podcast onto iTunes, from creating it to producing it to actually launching it. Okay, launching it onto iTunes and really tapping into the millions and millions of people that go onto iTunes on a monthly basis. So that is the process, my friend. I mean, that is as simple as it gets. I mean, I know you probably were thinking it's going to be a lot harder than that, but it really isn't. If you need more time, really, and if you're watching the replay, really stop this and go back. I mean, go back and really just, see how I did all this, okay? Because it's really, really not that hard. It's just about knowing the process that you're going to take in order for you to actually get the results that you're looking to get. All right. So let's actually jump back into the keynote, and let's actually, we're getting up to the hour now. So let's actually let's run through this, and let's be unstoppable, and let's cross the finish line. So let me talk about the perfect launch plan now. Okay, I talked about new and noteworthy and why it's important to get on there, but there's actually a formula. Okay, a formula that I've learned, that I've actually paid thousands of dollars to learn, and now I'm giving it to you as part of the value in this, because you invested time to watch this and be on this hangout, on this workshop. I'm going to share with you everything that I have today in order for you to actually break through those barriers and make sure that you're launching and you have a plan now. Okay, a plan of action. So in order for you to maximize new and noteworthy, you want to launch with episode 000. Okay, and episode 000 is actually the about the show section. Okay, so it's a podcast about your show. And I just want to give my 2 cents in here. I've seen people that launch their 000 episode with, it's over an hour long, and it's just for me, it's just too much, to be honest with you. What I like to do, if you can keep it short, anywhere between 15 and max 20 minutes, the purpose of the 000 episode is really just to give your audience a little bit about your podcast, a little bit about the host, about yourself, what to expect from them actually listening to the podcast, what they're actually going to get. Is it going to be an interview type of podcast? Is it going to be a co-host podcast? Is it going to be, 3 days a week? Is it going to be only once a week? Is it going to be every day? Like, that is more to just give them an about the podcast. Once when I see ones that are like it's the first podcast, I mean, for me, to be honest, I just ended up skipping it because there's so many podcasts out there that our time is valuable, right? So you want to make sure that you're getting people, everything that is about the podcast on the first episode. That's just my 2 cents. That's what I've learned, and that's what, when I look at podcasts, I want to get something quick and something that I can digest. And okay, make that decision? Is this something that I want to download and subscribe to, or is this something that I don't want to waste my time with, right? So you want to use that 000 episode in order for you to, and think of it like a blog, right? In every blog there's an about section, about the blog, about the author, what to expect, and that's what this episode 000 is about. In the launch plan, you want to launch with 3 shows. Okay, this is very, very important. You don't want to launch with 1 show, or you don't want to launch with 10 shows. Okay, 3 is the magic number, and here's why. If you only launch with 1 show and you have 100 people that go there and they download that episode, number one, they're only going to see 1 show and they're going to be like, okay, is this really my time? Is this worth my time? Because with podcasts, just like with blogs, people launch, but then they end up falling off at one point or another, and people just, they want consistency, right? You want to have consistency. So if you only launch with 1, the person might see that as you not being consistent, or maybe not worth their time in order for them to download it. And number 2, if you have 100 people that download, you only have 100 downloads. If you launch with 3, then that person now has in their mind, says, okay, this person is serious. They launch with 3. Okay. And once they subscribe and download those 3, now you go from 100 downloads to 300 downloads. Okay. So it's really important, especially when getting onto the new and noteworthy, the more downloads that you have, okay, it indicates to iTunes that this is a serious podcast, that they want to put them on the front page so others can actually listen to it, okay? Because they really want to take the podcast section in iTunes to another level, and they're really that's part of the formula. But you also don't want to launch with 10, because 10 can be overwhelming to somebody and they might just skip over you. So the magic formula is 3. You want to have 3 that you launch with. The 000 episode is part of those 3, but it gives a little bit, about the podcast, a little bit about you as a host, and a little bit of what to expect as the end user, okay? And you also want to ask your listeners to subscribe, rate, and review your podcast. This must be in your vocabulary, because you only have 8 weeks or 56 days to capitalize on the new and noteworthy section, my friend. So you want to make sure that this is in your vocabulary. You want to ask whether it's friends, your family, people on your list, or people that are in your networks, to subscribe, rate, and review. This is very important because it indicates to iTunes that this podcast is really new and it's noteworthy up on the top, and that unlocks and opens up doors to millions and millions of people to now hear your podcast. Okay, and that's just more exposure. So let's talk about, now that you know what a podcast is, now that you have a game plan, let's talk about how to actually grow your audience using social media. Okay, one is, you can use social media like Facebook, Twitter, Google, Pinterest, YouTube, Instagram. There's so many social networks out there that you can actually tap into to actually grow an audience and create that tribe, create that community that you're looking to form. Okay, so social media is good. You can also use your email list. Okay, if you are building an email list, okay, you can actually go to them and let them know, hey, I just released a podcast. I would love feedback. If you go and rate and review it, then I will give you, I don't know, 15 minutes of a coaching session, whatever it is, whatever you want to give them. Maybe you have a book, or maybe you have an ebook, or something that you want to give to them for them investing their time to help you with the rate and review. Okay, another thing you can do is you can use text, right? Mobile, like I mentioned earlier, is global, and it's just taking over everything. And if you can send a text to somebody and let them know, hey, I just released podcast, come check it out, and you give them a link, people are now checking their texts. People check their texts more than they check their emails. Okay, it's a fact. Okay, think about it. When you look at your phone, do you check if there's a text that comes in and it's on your phone? Do you check it, or do you go to your emails and check all your emails? Right? The answer is you usually check your text messages a lot more because it's right on your phone screen, as opposed to your email. You have to go into your Gmail or wherever you host your, you have to go in there and go and look at your emails. Okay, and then you get bombarded with all these emails. So you can use text as a way to grow your audience as well in your podcast. And then another way that you can grow your podcast is you can leverage guest lists. Okay, you can tap into new audience and tap into their existing community, people on to interview. Like I've interviewed a great, awesome author and person by the name of Nicole Lapin, Vidal Cisneros Jr., Leah Mullis, okay, Dean Lewis. All these are great entrepreneurs and people that already have their audience built. And once you can tap into that, then you now are commingling communities, and now you just tap into a community that now you didn't have. Otherwise, you would have never tapped into if you didn't have this podcast and brought them on as a guest onto your podcast. So it's another great way to tap into an audience, especially the higher as you go up in the more well-known people, like authors or marketers or just business owners. The more that they have an audience and you're able to bring them onto your podcast, like you can tap into that audience and just open up more and more people. And that's what I've been doing lately, and really that's how I've gotten to 61,000 downloads in my own podcast and in just a short amount of time, because I was able to tap into other people's audiences as well. So now let's talk about monetizing. I know you're probably wondering, okay, this is all good, Martin, but like how do you actually make money now, right? Like how can we make money with this? And there's different ways to make money with a podcast, okay? It's free, yes, okay, but there's ways to actually make money with the podcast and, and really just reward you with the value that you're putting out there into the marketplace. Number one is you can use affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing is great. There's so many affiliate marketing platforms out there. Choose the one that is going to work for your audience. But basically, affiliate marketing is there's a product or service that someone is providing. Okay, and if you can link up with them, okay, and be a partner with them, then you can now offer that same service. And when somebody buys, you get a percentage from that sale. Okay, so you can actually go and, like for me, I have a different, partners that I've partnered up with, and now I'm able to refer people to their systems or to their platforms. And again, I only recommend things that I use, okay, and I have integrity like that. Okay, if I don't use something, I don't recommend it to my audience, because obviously, I only recommend things that I use. So if I use it and I recommend it and people go and take me up on the offer and they actually go and use it themselves, then that partner that I made that partnership with, then they will now pay me a commission or a percentage of that sale. So you can put affiliate marketing into your podcast and really make some good money like that. Number two is personal coaching. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a bit, but you can actually, have personal coaching. You're an expert in something, right? That's why you created that podcast. People that, especially if you build that audience that, that really want to know more, how to actually, create that solution to that problem that they're having. If you're able to do that, then you can actually coach them on that. And, coaching can be a great thing, and I always recommend getting coaching. I still have coaching myself. I still pay people to coach me because I don't know everything, and I'm smart enough to know that I don't know what I don't know. And if I can leverage a decade of knowledge or 5 years of knowledge or more and condense that into my learning curve, then I'm the one that's going to be winning in the end. Okay, so I'm willing to invest in myself, invest in my business, invest in my community, so I can go and come back and bring that knowledge to them, just like I'm doing right now. Okay, this is a great example. I invested in myself to learn how to podcast. I have my podcast out there. We're growing it, and now I can come back to you and share everything that I learned along my journey. Okay, and now instead of you having to pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to learn this knowledge, you can condense your learning curve by just being on this workshop. So I'll talk a little bit more about personal coaching in a bit. You can also create mastermind groups. Okay, I'm actually rolling now with Warrior Nation Elite. Okay, my community is called Warrior Nation, and I'm going to be creating mastermind groups all over the world. Okay, that's my vision, is to create these groups and have people fly into different locations around the world, around the globe, and us mastermind and really just business. So if you ever want to create a mastermind group, you create a mastermind group with the podcast and have people fly in all over the place and really just, and pay you to get better, right? Which is awesome. Number 4 is bringing on sponsorships. Okay, this is the next phase in my business. Okay, obviously there's different phases, but this is the next one that I'm approaching, where you can actually bring sponsorships. And once you build a community, okay, and once you can show numbers, and you can show people that, hey, I have a community that is listening to my podcast on an everyday basis, and I'm getting over 15, 20,000 downloads a month or more, right? Obviously, the more you have, the more money you can get. Think of it like a radio station, right? How do radio stations make their money? They bring on sponsorships or commercials. That's why there's so many, and that's how they're able to bring on these sponsorships and pay and have money coming in to support that radio station. There's no difference with a podcast. You can bring on sponsorships, especially if you're in a niche community, or a podcast that's really, really niche, and you can find somebody that will be willing to pay you. I mean, that is a great sponsorship right there. Okay, so sponsorships, so affiliate marketing, personal coaching, masterminds, and sponsorships. I'm gonna go a little bit faster now, because already past the 1 hour mark. But I want to let you know, if you follow the step-by-step blueprints that I've just outlined inside of this powerful podcast mastery blueprint presentation, then your ability to create your ultimate lifestyle and buy back your time and freedom with speed, ease, and pleasure will simply shock you, my friend. We had about 60 minutes or so. We actually, went overboard on this hangout. I didn't really get the opportunity to go into the deep psychology and strategic process to generate endless amounts of leads to your podcast for maximum efficiency. Okay, I gave you the blueprint right now. Hopefully you have everything that you need. And if you're watching the replay, make sure you go back and you just go through it again, because there's a lot that I covered. But you now have everything that you need in order for you to create, produce, and launch your very own podcast. You don't need any more than that. Okay, but what I wasn't able to do was the deep psychology behind really just generating the endless amounts of leads to your podcast, how to actually build your audience. Okay, once you have your podcast, that's all great and gravy, but if you have nobody listening to it, then it's all for nothing. Okay, so I want to share with you how to actually go and create endless amounts of leads, and I want to really dig deep into the deep psychology behind that. So what I want to do is I actually want to offer you a free one-on-one coaching session to help you get some clarity on the process to set up and build your own stealth recruiting funnel branded to you, and really just create your podcast that is branded to you, my friend. All right, so I didn't have the whole time to actually do that right now, but you should see a button that pops up where you can actually sign up for a free one-on-one coaching call with me, and we can go through the whole process of whether it's creating your avatar, creating your zone of genius, creating the topics that you want to talk about, setting all the technical aspects of what microphones to use, to what software to get, all that good stuff. I mean, I explained it, but if we have to go deeper into that, I'm more than willing to help you on this. I'm offering this free one-on-one for very limited time. Okay, so you have to take me up on this offer if you really want to do this, because it's only for a limited time only. All right. If you want to take me up on this free offer, simply go to theunstoppablejourney.com /coaching. Okay, so that's theunstoppablejourney.com /coaching to take me up on this free offer. All right, and let me actually just go there real quick. So you can actually see what it looks like. Okay, it's basically a work. Let me see, coaching. 1 second. Let me go there so you can actually see what it looks like. And it's again, this is a free offer. I'm going to share with you actually how to go about the deep psychology, anything that you need from me to help you get your podcast out there. I'm more than willing to help you out, my friend. Okay, you just got to take the action steps. You got to take the first step and meet me where I'm at so I can help you. Okay, you got to raise your hand and say, hey Martin, I want a podcast, I just don't know how to do it, I need your help. And I'm more than willing to help you out. So application looks like it's very simple. You just got to answer a few questions just so I know a little bit more about you, a little bit more about what you do, what type of business you run. Okay, your Skype ID, all that good stuff. Okay, just describe a little bit about your goals, what's your vision, right? I really want to know where you're at so I can help you to the best of my ability. All right, so it's just a simple application. Just fill it out. It takes no more than 10 minutes. It gives me a little bit more background about you. Okay, so it's a simple coaching application. It takes no more than 10 minutes to do. All you got to do is go to theunstoppablejourney.com /coaching, and you're able to sign up for that coaching application. All right, my friends. So that's simple as that. I mean, it doesn't take longer than 10 minutes to actually do, to be honest with you. It's going to give me a lot more glimpse of into your business, into your world, so I can help you to the best of my ability. Okay, so simply go to theunstoppablejourney.com /coaching. So for those of you that are still here to the end, as I promised in the beginning of this workshop, I have a special gift for you, my friend. Okay, creating a podcast and all that is going to be life changing. I know it has been for me, and not only that, but you're going to change other people's lives around the world. Okay, especially if you follow the steps that I just outlined. But creating your audience is another thing. And for me, the one thing that I always struggled with, especially coming online, I didn't own a computer. I didn't talk about this in my story, but I didn't own a when you're in college. And one thing that I always struggled with was really just the technical aspects of everything that had to do online, right? Creating a website, creating landing pages, creating, blogs and all that good stuff. Well, I finally found a tool that will create professional looking images, and you don't even have to be an expert in coding or anything like that. So I want to offer this free special gift to you. It's free. All you got to do is go to mymittspages.com. That's MYMITS pages.com. It's on your screen, pages.com. Go there, sign up for a free account, and start creating your lead capture pages. So once you have your podcast, you can start building a list of a tribe, a community, of people that actually want to hear from you. And now you can build that factor that will help you, take your products and your business to the next level. So mymittspages.com, and that's free just for being here, for investing some time. If you're watching the replay, you can still get this. You invested in yourself, and I just want to reward you for being here and taking action and being here to get better, my friend. So mymittspages.com. Make sure you grab your free resource, your free tool. And if you're still here and you still like to take me up on the free coaching offer, all you have to do is go to theunstoppablejourney.com /coaching. Once again, theunstoppablejourney.com /coaching. So hopefully you got a ton of value. Now I want to just wrap it up and say, if there's any questions, let me go ahead and take a quick drink of water. See if there's any questions. It looks like, let me see. Let's see, any questions, chat? All right. Doesn't look like there's any questions, but if you have any questions, even if you're watching the replay, then you can actually type it in, and I will actually get your questions. Okay, so I do want to ask, I do have a small request, okay, from you. Okay, this was a free workshop. Okay, I gave everything. I'm sweating up a storm because I just gave it my all right now. But I do have a small request. Is that simply to go to iTunes and subscribe to the Unstoppable Journey podcast and just leave an honest review. Okay, so go to iTunes and do a search for the Unstoppable Journey podcast. And this is my artwork. You'll be able to see it. Simply, listen to a few. There's over 82 podcasts now, and we're just growing as the days go on. But there's a lot of resources in there. There's a lot of interviews that you can get better at. And all I ask is just listen to a few and just leave an honest review. Okay, subscribe to the podcast and leave an honest review, and I would appreciate it on my end. Just being the podcast host for the Unstoppable Journey. So that's all I have. That's all I ask in return for being able to share with you all this valuable information. So if you want to take me up on the coaching for one last time, this is a limited offer. Okay, simply go to theunstoppablejourney.com/coaching, fill out your coaching application, and we will be speaking within the next 48 hours. So last time, theunstoppablejourney.com/coaching. I'll see you on the beaches of the world, my friend. This is Martin Ware. Catch you on the next workshop.